Video is better. So if you guys have a clear video of us, let us know too. It looks like that is working much better than last time,
Yeah.
so.
Right now we've got everybody on mute and you can chat with us and we'll do our best. It's just Jessica and I here today, so
And as we go on, we'll unmute you guys for the Q&A and, yeah.
yeah. So when we get to the end of things, we'll do the Q&A and you guys will have your opportunity to talk and ask questions and whatever. So again, thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning. We hope you guys are going to have a good time today and learn some new things. Thank you for being Vinyl Club members and joining in on this. It's you guys that make this great. We're just here to try and help facilitate that. So I will encourage you guys in the community to please go and complete your profiles, add your picture, share a little bit about yourself. It makes all this more fun. So for those of you that have done that, thank you. For those of you that have not done that, thank you in advance for doing it. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about HTV application and layering. Last week, we talked just a little bit about general HTV knowledge and some frequently asked questions regarding HTV. And next week, we will be talking about applying HTV to unconventional things, difficult things, some stuff like that. So we hope you join us next week as well. That is going to be on Thursday at 3:30 Mountain Time. So that's 2:30 Pacific, 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern.
And we will get these times more. It's me, I'm the problem with messing all these up. I've been sick this week. I don't have a great voice, which might actually be better for the camera, the microphone and everything. Because I'm usually pretty loud, so. And then next week, I have an appointment that's important, so.
Yeah.
It's a hair appointment, but.
Also, we're trying to figure out really what is the best time to be doing these. And, you know, I recognize we're never going to find a time that is perfect for everyone. So of course, these will be replayed as well, so you can catch up on them later.
Yep.
And we may bounce the times around a bit just to help them be more accessible for the live experience.
Something else we're doing today at the end of this is a drawing, so
yes,
stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. Hopefully all of you were aware of this, but any Vinyl Club members who placed an order between January 16th and 22nd, you were entered in a drawing for a free machine giveaway. I mean, we're of course encouraging the Juliet. We like the Juliet. It's a good machine.
It's an awesome machine.
And it's something that maybe you guys are interested in getting your hands on. So anyway, one lucky winner is going to be drawn for that today.
Amelia says she loves that they're being recorded because she can rewatch them if she can't catch live. So
So
and
we're also hopeful that our recording quality will be even better today than the first one. So anyway, and of course in the community, give us your comments. We love your feedback. It's very helpful to us. And you know, don't hold back. You won't hurt my feelings, I promise. So
he's married to me. Kind of hard.
Did you start?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, we got like 600 things going on in here. It's wild being on this side of things, but so anyway, with that, we're gonna jump right into. We will begin with HTV application today, and we'll get into layering a bit and go through just some general kind of. This whole thing is kind of frequently asked questions, so there's not any real specific frequently asked questions we'll address. But you guys will be able to ask your questions at the end, so we can get into that as well.
If you think of anything along the way too, you can go in the chat and do that.
we'll do our best to watch the chat. Like I said, it's just the two of us here today, so. Yeah, we'll jump right into application. And I'm going to switch us to the different camera view here.
And the first project we're gonna do, Beth, did an awesome project. She got it ready for us. We're gonna do the new Caesar, puff. Is it metallic puff? What's the official name?
It's metallic.
Metallic puff. So, as you can see, this is flipped, so it will, but it's flipped on that camera. I promise it's right in real life. Well,
Oh,
it's good. It's okay. It's good on this one.
That's funny.
Yeah,
We've got two different views here and everything looks
it's good on Zoom though, so we're good.
correct on this one yeah, anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you cut something, you should have that mirror image. That's an important thing for HTV. So everything should look backwards on the cut side. So when you flip it over to apply it, everything looks correct.
And of course, we're skipping a few steps here. We've already cut it, weeded it, and we're ready to apply, so.
Because we're talking very specifically about application today. And before we actually apply this, there's just a couple of things that I want to talk about. Switch us back to the front camera for a second. So there's a few things that you should know before you apply some HTV. It's generally recommended that you do a pre-press. And all that means is that you're going to place the garment on the heat press and press it for 10 seconds. It does two things. It removes wrinkles and moisture. It is not an absolutely critical step, but if you do it, you will probably have more successful results. Another thing is, this is a Teflon cover sheet. It is best practice to always use this when you're pressing.
We also have multi-use paper. We sell multi-use paper.
Yeah.
Which is,
It's kind of a disposable cover sheet.
you can use it a lot of times. It's not disposable after one use, but it will eventually like crack and tear.
Yeah, the other reason it is called multi-use paper is when you have this cut HTV, you've got this sticky carrier sheet. And we should have brought a piece of multi-use paper in here, but the multi-use paper has one side that's kind of got a slick kind of silicone coating. You can actually use that to cover over this so you can transport them, ship them, whatever you need to do so that they that doesn't pick up all kinds of junk. So with that, we will jump into, we're going to make a press with the puff material.
The puff just came out. It's in silver and gold right now, with more colors to follow. Yeah, we're using like a sprout shirt or something like that.
So this is, I'm doing that pre-press right now. I'm going to give it that 10-second press. This particular material is at 280 degrees for 10 seconds. And then it's going to be a hot peel. And so as soon as this pops, we're going to show you what hot peel means. So that gives, we're going to go 10 seconds on this and it's going to come off. And that carrier sheet needs to come off while it's hot.
This is a two-step press, so it's not gonna puff yet.
So I was a little too slow on this.
Yep.
And it's a little bit messy.
It's good, it's fine.
But this is actually a great point. You can see, hopefully you guys could see some of those things, some of the letters tried to peel off. But the upside is, when we press this again, because this is the way puff works, we're going to put that back on the heat press. And we've got to press it again for another 10 seconds to get that puff action. So make sure you put that cover sheet on there, because if the heat press platen touches bare HTV, it will melt onto the platen, and that is bad. So we're going to press that again for 10 seconds. This is where we get the puff effect in.
If you do happen to do that, press without a cover sheet, it makes a mess, you can't put it on. It's not the end of the world, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. So cute.
All right. So we got that puff action going there. It's a little bit hard to see in this video. Maybe you guys can see it. We definitely had some issues with that pea where it peeled off before.
Yeah.
Um,
I also wonder if having something on the back is messing it up.
yeah. So this is actually a great example. We also could have been having some issues because of these seams in here. And to counteract some of those things, the thing to do is to use a pressing pillow. So I've got a pressing pillow here. And what this does is this goes on your press and it allows those seams to squish into the pillow. This is just a piece of foam with the Teflon cover sheet sewn around it. These are very handy. You don't need them all the time, but there's definitely times that they come into play and it's very important. So hopefully that kind of helps you guys understand how you can solve some of your issues.
Yeah, I wish we had another one cut.
Again, I don't know if you can
Try
see
again.
that, but this did not go great. And if you guys, I hope you guys have questions about this that we can answer at the end. Because even though we have lots of experience with this, sometimes it still doesn't go great, and that's okay.
Where's the cute? We did this one yesterday as a test and it went great. Like you can really see how it puffs up and yeah.
Yeah, so.
So Beth made that cute thing to look like the happy birthday, you know, the balloons that, yeah, to make it look like balloons, cause it's puff and it's cute. We'll redo it and it'll be cute.
Right,
It was a good trial.
so. All right, so. That kind of covered hot peel. I hope that made sense to everybody. Hot peel means that you're going to peel that carrier sheet off as soon as it comes off the heat press. The next would be warm peel, meaning that it comes off after it cools down just a little bit. And then of course you have cold peel, which is cold. So next we're going to jump into which one you want to do next.
Whatever. This is just single pattern. Then layering. So we need to turn the heat press up though too.
Oh, yeah. So we're gonna adjust the temperature on our heat press just a little bit. Because our next material needs to be at a higher temperature. So at 305.
This is our leopard tan pattern heat transfer. It is a very popular one.
Oh, and we need to go like 12 seconds, right?
This out.
All right, so we're going to apply this just to a simple towel.
This is a cute towel I got at Target.
This is a simple cute towel that was good out at Target. So this particular material, this is a patterned HTV, and this is going to apply very similarly to Easy Weed. Same heat and time settings. The only issue that you need to know about pattern HTV is that you cannot layer on top of it. Things will not stick. Well, you get questionable results with it, so we don't recommend layering it on the top layer. Just giving our heat press a minute to warm up here. So when we press on something like this, we're again going to want to do that to pre-press on it. Because as you can see, we've kind of got some wrinkles and stuff going on in here. And we don't want that to carry through into our vinyl. And that's the big reason for the pre-press. It's just to get that kind of stuff out of there. you'll get better results out of it. And I'm doing a bad job of being in the habit of using my cover sheet. So there is a hack here. You can't really see this on the camera, but you can catch that edge. You can actually magnet these up onto a heat press like this one that's metal. You can magnet those on there.
And you never forget.
All right, so we're going to give that a 12-second press at 305 degrees.
That's what I was gonna grab as a chart.
Mm,
Do you remember a pattern is hot pill, cold pill, warm pill? Pretty sure it's hot or warm.
It's not on this chart. I think pattern again is, it's similar to easy weed, and easy weed is hot peel, warm peel, cold peel. It doesn't matter. You can do anything on it. So I've pulled that off the press. It's still pretty warm right now. So I'm gonna give that just a few more seconds. And so it's not too warm to touch, but it still feels warm. So that's gonna be a warm peel. And that's what warm peel means.
So another material that you don't want to layer is glitter. Should we go into this?
Yeah.
Glitter straight. We've got other ones, twinkle, and there's another one that you can layer because it's a more smooth thing, but just glitter is a textured glitter. So I'm gonna peel that off so you guys can see this better. But there's a texture to it. And if you layer on top of that, then when you go to wash your shirt or whatever you have, the water and the soap and stuff is gonna get in between the layers. And so it will eventually peel off. So if you want to layer glitter, just make sure glitter is your top layer, not anything on top of the glitter. So a couple of things to handle that is you can layer or you can do a knockout. Which one do you want to do first?
Either one.
Okay, so this one I've done in silhouette. I just had a nice thick V that I put Veronica inside and then knocked it out and then still cut out Veronica in white glitter. And then you can just layer it in there. So it looks like it's layered when you apply it, but it's not actually layered. There's nothing gonna be on top of that glitter. So you get the same effect of look, but
Just put that on here.
yeah, or that white t-shirt.
So before we get into this layer though, we didn't talk about cold peel.
Oh, sorry,
So
I jumped ahead.
yeah, we jumped ahead a little bit, but cold peel means just that, cold. So cold meaning that when you touch it, it does not feel warm at all. Generally speaking, cold peel, you want to give it probably 1 to 2 minutes before you peel that carrier sheet off. There are things you can do to speed that up. You could use like canned air like this. If you have like a stone or something that's cold, you can rub it on there and cool things down some.
Yeah, if you're like granite countertops you're working by.
Yeah, that can speed it up. The best advice I have for you is pull it off of your press and set it aside and forget about it for a couple minutes. But again, you need to consult with the manufacturer information on whether things are hot peel, warm peel, cold peel. We have all that information on Expressions Vinyl, of course, but there's no way to know what it is without getting that information from the manufacturer.
I also feel like cold pill is a little dramatic. It doesn't have to be cold to the touch, but it needs to be not warm to the touch, like not hot at all.
Right.
So you don't have to put it in the fridge to get it cold. It just needs to be,
But you could.
well,
You
you
just
could.
don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to.
It just needs to be not warm to the touch is the important factor of it, so.
And I should have grabbed a sample to do with that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Did we want to cut this out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. we're gonna layer this part on here. Do I got that one on?
Sure.
I guess that we want to illustrate a row piece on there.
We'll do that after.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna apply this to the other side of this dowel, so we'll give that pre-press. Get the moisture and wrinkles out.
I don't know how that beep of the heat press is coming across on you guys' end. Hopefully it's not too irritating.
So I'm just lining this up. It's not super important where it's at on this towel. When we layer, we actually want to do our first layer and we're going to do a 1 second tack. So I'm literally going to put that press down, let it count for 1 second. I'm going to pop it up. And I'm going to peel that off while it's hot. And the reason that you do that is that minimizes shrinkage and it helps all the adhesive processes work correctly.
Now, if you were to wash this right now after the 1 second press, it would come right off. It's not set.
Yeah, it's not on there very well. It's definitely not going to hold up for things that need to be washed. If you were doing something that was like some kind of a promotional thing where, I don't know, I can't think of a good example, but like maybe you put vinyl on like a can koozie or something, it doesn't necessarily need as long of a press as something that will get washed needs, because it just doesn't.
You're not washing it. You're not getting that wear.
It doesn't take the abuse. So I'm gonna line that next layer up on there, put it back on the heat press. I would generally just do that lining up while it's on the heat press, but it's hard for us to get that camera angle in there. I'm gonna make sure and put my cover sheets on there because we don't want that platen to touch anything that doesn't have a cover sheet. And then I'm gonna go ahead and give this the press for the full time. I might give this just a couple of extra seconds because that glitter that we put on top should be at a little bit higher temperature than the easy weed that's on the bottom. So I'll just let that beep real loud for you.
Hopefully we're not blasting anybody's ears out.
So I'm gonna pull that off. I'm gonna let that cool down for just a couple seconds and get a warm peel out of this. And there we have it. We've got 2 layers applied there. So layering is not all that complicated. You can make it super complicated if you want to. It's just about your creativity and what you want to accomplish.
Also how it feels on your shirt. If you have lots of colors, lots of layers going on, it's gonna feel stiffer the more layers you put on, so.
So that kind of spills into a question of how many layers can I do? And there's not really an answer that says, well, you can't do, 10 layers. You could do 10 layers. It's going to be very uncomfortable if it's something you're wearing. Once you get really beyond probably about 2 to maybe 3 layers that are all, if they're actually layered up on top of each other, it's going to feel very heavy and very stiff and isn't really a great solution, but it could be done if the materials are layerable. And again, that's something you need to consult with the manufacturer's recommendations on that.
We sell a lot of Caesar stuff. We have charts on our website about that. If you go to expressionsvinyl.com, or if you're a vinyl club member, and you've got the little kit,
Yep.
They're in there. But anyway, you can download them, you can screenshot them, print them off, but they're very helpful to know what you're working with.
So we're going to jump into the knockout that Jessica talked about. And hopefully you guys can see this. So this Veronica here is cut out of this pink glitter. And then we have this white glitter that's going to go into that void cavity. So there's 2 reasons for this. This allows you to get that layered look from materials that can't be layered. So glitter can be layered on top of other layerable materials, but it has to be the top layer. In this case, we're using 2 glitters. And we're just gonna line those up into those 2 cavities, so we get that layered look without actually layering it. The other advantage here is this is gonna feel much lighter on the garment, so it's essentially the equivalent of having 1 complete layer, but it has the look of having multiple layers. So you can get as creative as you want with this. We could cut all kinds of things out of this. We could have made each one of these letters a different color
Yeah.
if we wanted to be extra creative. So
While you're pressing that, we got a comment and says, oh wow, I never knew Caesar was pronounced like Caesar, like the salad. I added that. She says, I have always said Sizer, so that's very, very common. Don't feel any way about that. Caesar actually had a little promo, I think it's been a couple years ago, about it's like the salad.
right,
Anyway,
Yeah.
you can say it however you want to. They say Caesar like the salad, so little PSA. But it's very common. There's a lot of different ways people say Caesar.
Caesar is an Italian company, and that's why it's pronounced that way, because every American, when they first see it, pronounces it Caesar.
Yeah, yeah. So it makes sense to us.
All right, so I'm gonna put that first layer on. And I'm gonna give that just that 1 to 2 second tack. And I'm gonna go ahead and peel that carrier sheet off. So again, that's stuck enough that we can do our layering, our knockout.
Let's just pause a little second for that glitter. I love it so much.
And so when we go back on the heat press, I'll show you lining it up here. But I'm just gonna line that up in the void where it needs to go there. So when you do your cutting, you're just gonna cut these 2 pieces and just weave them opposite of each other. It's pretty simple. We will address cutting in general in a different video series.
Connie does have a good question though. She says, when you did your knockout, did you offset a little? So I actually, this one is not that way, but I did cut 2 and I did offset 1 and I was trying to decide what I liked more. So it's just personal preference. If you want the color of your shirt to come through a little bit on that edge around Veronica, you could have totally knocked out. And I did it on one of them. I decided to go with the tight fit. So
Yeah.
this one I did not, but you absolutely could do a knockout and have your shirt show through a little bit on that.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Offset,
Offset.
yeah,
What is it?
so knockout.
No, yeah.
So to further answer anybody, if you're confused by that, offset just means that it's a setting in your cutting software that allows you to just give just a little bit of adjustment to the overall size of one of the components to either make it just a little bit smaller or just a little bit bigger so that things overlap differently. And that's perfectly fine. If you get just a little bit of overlap, it's not gonna fall apart. So, okay, so I've got that all lined up and on here. I'm gonna go ahead and give that the full press.
Should I go grab? I have one weeded and ready to go. Should I have one that shows offset?
Sure.
It's in my office.
Okay. So we've got that full press on there. Oh, interesting. So we actually, this is a great example. So we had that pull up just a little bit there. And that's okay. This is something we need to talk about is what happens if my vinyl is not sticking. So this is likely a little bit of a pressure issue. And I am going to solve that by grabbing this heat press pillow. And I'm just gonna put that whole thing back up there with the pressing pillow in between. That's gonna give me like I think my best way to describe it is that that is gonna give me soft pressure. So I'm gonna put that cover sheet back on there. And I'm just gonna clamp that down and I'm gonna give that another full press. And that should do the trick.
Did it come up?
Yeah, we lost the part of the V was coming up.
Also, this is so thin. I should have picked a different font.
All right, so you can actually see there. That time it peeled nicely for me. And this is hard to see, but that is all stuck down now. So you potentially could hurt HTV by pressing it for too long. But you gotta go so long before it's an issue. So don't worry too much about that. You wanna talk about something?
Yeah, so this one is where I did the offset, in the Veronica you can see how it's a little fatter than this. So then if we were to put this inside, and it was a very slight offset. So there's just gonna be a little space between that. It's probably really hard to see in this video, but there's just a little space. There's just a little bit of that pink towel that you can see coming through
Yeah.
between the V
Maybe.
and the, yeah,
I don't know if that's enough for you to see, but.
Yeah.
It does give
You get
you
the
a
idea.
little bit of that and, yeah. We'll have to maybe address that through some static pictures that we can get zoomed in on it, so you can see what that looks like, but.
yeah.
You get the idea, so I hope you get the idea. If you don't, please ask some questions. We'll do our best to address them.
Do you wanna get into what happens if you have a little rogue piece?
Yeah. So,
I cut one out, there it is. Cut one out right there. So I like to use a box around my designs, a weeding box. But sometimes in that, when I cut around my box, I leave a little tiny sliver, and I've got a little tiny sliver. We're gonna pretend that this happened. So in our last one, we got into like, if you forgot to mirror and you still ironed it on, or if you forgot something, making a whole design off, and that's a whole ordeal. Possible dark colors, you will still see an outline of the adhesive. If you want to get into that, you can go watch last week's, but and you just have a little tiny piece. Can you guys see this little tiny sliver? That like maybe you forgot to weed out something in your design. But like afterward, you're looking at your shirt and you're like, oh crap, I forgot this little chunk. What am I gonna do? Carl's gonna show you how to deal with that. So we're gonna let this cool off.
Okay.
Or do you want me to do it?
Good to it.
So you just heat it up again. So let's pretend this is nice and cool. You're about to like give this shirt to a customer and you're like, oh crap, I need to get that out. You can just heat it up again.
So you could throw that back on your press and heat it up. You could also get out an iron. Set this to like just a little bit higher than where it would start to steam. And then you could actually put it. Just kind of get your garment on there like that. I don't actually have this iron on right now.
Yeah, but then you pick it off carefully.
Yeah.
It will still probably leave a little adhesive behind, but
yeah,
you can generally warm that adhesive back up, peel it off, and
hopefully you don't make this mistake, because removing HTV is not really great, but it can be done.
my glasses on. So I'm just picking in the shirt. I put my glasses on.
And it's also helpful to, if you can kind of have it on that heat source. You can't see what I'm doing right now. I'm actually holding it up to the heat press. Just to make sure that that adhesive is nice and warm. That's what will make it helpful to get it off.
Anyway, that gives you guys an idea of If you have a little tiny piece, go rogue.
Yeah.
You can get it off. Just need a little heat and something pokey.
And patience, because it really is not actually easy to do, depending on the size of the piece. And next week, we are actually going to talk more about removing HTV and things you can do. Like I said, this requires heat and patience. I probably should have turned that iron on.
Yeah. Got a tiny little point. If you have one of those little seam irons that they use in sewing, it's got a tiny little point. You can also get that in the back of it and fill it off, but
Yeah.
anyway, they get the idea.
So, I promise you it can be done. We're not gonna make you sit here for 20 minutes and watch us do this. It can be done, but it's also where I would urge you to exercise extreme caution as you're doing HTV to make sure you don't have stuff like this going on, because it is time consuming and difficult to actually get it off. And like I said, we will talk more about removing HTV next week, the pros and cons of it, what you can and can't do. But you can apply some heat and pick those things off. It just is tedious and time consuming.
I just want to show you, this is another example of the knockout method. So this looks like it's layered, but it's just one. It's just the same thing cut in two colors, weeded opposite of each other, and then put on there stuff. Good example of knockout.
So one last, I think that pretty much wraps up most of the things we have, but one last thing that I did want to address that is kind of a frequently asked question is, should I wash my garment before
Oh, yeah.
I apply stuff to it? And in the very early days of working with heat transfer vinyl, it was recommended that you pre-wash. But that's really changed. And the reason being is that if you're trying to make things to sell them, there's certainly a debate of, is this actually a new garment now if I've washed it? And we don't need to get into the semantics of that.
Yeah.
That's up to personal opinion. But it's also really impractical to have to pre-wash everything before you apply it. So HTVs, really like good quality HTVs, it's not necessary. But if you do decide to pre-wash, do not use any fabric softener. And in fact, you should not use fabric softener with garments that have HTV on them, period. Fabric softeners, what they do is they actually lubricate the fibers, and that's what makes them feel soft. And that lubrication of the fibers makes the HTV not stay stuck over time. So fabric softener and HTV do not go together. And I mean, that's kind of important.
Using a small amount or dryer sheets, it's generally fine. I use dryer sheets all the time. It's fine.
Yeah,
If you're using a lot of liquid, mostly
Yeah.
fabric softeners is the culprit. A
yeah,
lot of
like
times.
liquid fabric softeners are definitely the bigger issue. Dryer sheets are not near as big of an issue. Unless if you're pre-washing, don't use dryer sheets when you dry.
Yeah.
But as far as washing completed garments, it's fine. And I guess one other, since we're talking about washing things, 24 hours after application before the first wash, just to let that adhesive get completely set up so it doesn't come off.
You want to get into what you can put HTV on?
Yes, yeah, we're going to talk about just some of the different things you can and can't put HTV on. And then we will get into the Q&A. So we hope you guys have some good questions for us. Yes, we want to go back to I don't know which camera view we want to use here.
I think the front one will just show.
Okay. So Jessica's grabbing some things here. We talked about this a little bit in our last week's live in just general HTV knowledge, but we'll cover it again today. The short answer is you can put HTV on anything that can handle the heat.
What I know. Okay. Well, sorry, we'll get in, I'm jumping ahead.
We'll get back there. So anything that can handle the heat, you can pretty much stick HTV to. I don't think I've come across anything that's like, yeah, it can handle the heat, but it didn't stick. Except silicone. Nothing sticks to silicone. HTV, adhesive vinyl, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Silicone was built to be a non-stick thing. But silicone could absolutely handle the heat. So you will find some things, but basically anything that's kind of a textile that has that, fibery quality to it. So obviously HTV was built for applying to garments. Originally built for applying to cotton, polyester, and polyester. Like you're absolutely going to get it to stick to those things. You do get into some weirdness with coated polyester. You can test for it being coated by putting a couple drops of water on it. If the water beads up and doesn't soak in pretty quickly, it's coated. HTV is not going to stick very well to it.
That's on a lot of like backpacks, duffel bags.
Yeah.
Jackets sometimes.
So with that, we've got some examples. I'll hold them up. You can talk about them.
So of course you can put HTV on a sweatshirt.
This is, I don't know if you can see it. This is Aurora.
Aurora is so fun. I love Aurora.
Super cool. This is a cold peel. I know that.
Yes, that one is a cold peel. T-shirts, you can put it on, of course, it's fabric.
This t-shirt is just my size. I'm gonna wear it later today.
If you can fit that over your head, I'll buy you an ice cream cone. Should I encourage that? I don't think I should encourage that. A hat, you can put it on hats. So this is a little tricky, but with an iron or like a mini iron, like obviously you can't put this in a heat press. You can put it in, most hat presses are made to do it up here, but we did it on the brim. So yeah, you can put on that. Roll up towels are your best friend to get that nice surface underneath to keep it stable.
Anything that you can create the heat and pressure on,
Yeah.
you're probably going to get HTV to stick to. And next week, we're going to talk about the difficult surfaces. So we'll address putting it on something like the brim of this hat.
Yeah. You can put it on a teddy bear for Valentine's Day. I did that one with an iron. Obviously, you're not going to fit that in your heat press. You don't want to break your heat press, so use like an easy press or an iron for that. And then also, this is wood. You can put HTV on wood. So anything that will withstand the heat, you can put it on.
Use your imagination.
You can put it on glass. You can put it on so many things. Here's an example of what.
I don't know if you,
Doesn't
this is gonna be. If
you can see it right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that line there, this particular yoga mat, so this was already printed on the yoga mat. So we were gonna try and put some other HTV on here. This did not work. When we put the heat and pressure on that, it like melted it down. And I mean, you could get the HTV to stick to it. It would just ruin your yoga mat.
Ruin the purpose of the cushy yoga mat. If your yoga mat is made of a natural thing like bamboo or cork, that's not gonna melt. So you could put HTV on that. That is obviously a very man-made,
Right.
plasticky something, so it melted.
So usually the issue is gonna be about the heat. And so a way you can figure out whether it's gonna be able to take the heat or not is get out your handy dandy iron. Set that to about the place where it steams, like cotton blends, somewhere around there. That's gonna give you roughly 300 degrees of heat. But then you can just use like the little tip, a small part of the iron. And you can test it out on the bear's tail.
Do it in an inconspicuous spot.
Find a spot where you can test it. And if it does cause some damage, maybe it's not enough damage that whatever it is ruined. But you figure out whether you can actually apply HTV to it or not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can put HTV on lots of fun stuff. Now, if you're putting it on wood or on maybe a bear or on like a piece of glass, something you're not washing, you don't have to do the exact time and temperature. All you have to do is heat up that adhesive, get it to stick, and peel off your carrier sheet. So like this you could do for like 5 seconds, it's stuck. You're not putting it in the washing machine, it doesn't have to hold up. it's fine. The bear, you might wanna get a little closer, because you might wanna wash him, and then definitely close, you wanna do the right
Right.
amount of time and pressure, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we ready for fun?
We need to let them Q&A.
Oh, yes, Q&A.
So,
Well, and I want them to be able to, in case whoever we draw is wrong.
yeah, hopefully our winner is on here today. Wouldn't that be super fun? So. And are you guys able to unmute yourselves? Or do I have to give you? We're still trying to learn how to run Zoom, so.
Last time we had people that could just unmute themselves, so if you can unmute yourself and you have a question, try it out. If you're not able to unmute yourself, let us know in the chat. Thank you.
We've got somebody talking, but we cannot. Unfortunately, we can't hear you.
Okay, Amelia says she can unmute, but she doesn't have a question. And also, yeah, somebody else can unmute themselves, so. So do you guys have any questions after all that? Maybe we were so detailed.
Yeah, and I heard somebody, like, we could hear a little bit of somebody talking, but for some reason you're not coming through very loud and we can't understand you.
Maybe they didn't have a question. They're
And-
just background. Okay.
Yeah, I can't decide what's going on, so,
Okay, I think they're able to unmute, so
okay.
if you have a question, let us know. Otherwise, let's do that.
Yeah, of course, you guys can always come back in the community and ask questions. We'll continue to answer them there. This will be put up as a recorded post so that the conversation can keep going there as well. And anybody who wasn't able to attend can continue to.
Yeah, ask questions
watch.
in the community. Dun, dun,
Alright.
dun.
So, on to the machine winner. So these, Nicole, our marketing director, actually
And
got,
that.
and Seth, our finance director, they got together and got the list of all the people who were entered,
Cut them out.
cut them out.
So if you made multiple orders, your order is in here multiple times.
Right, yeah, if you ordered more than once during that 16th to 22nd. All right, I'm getting them stirred up. I gotta make sure we get some stuff off the bottom here. I'll get that back in there.
Okay, and you can pick whatever 12-inch machine you want. So the Juliet, a Silhouette, a Cricut, whatever you want.
Yeah. So,
Am I drawing?
yeah, I'm gonna let you do the honors
The
there.
pressure's on me. Okay. Do I go top or do I go? No, this guy's
All
coming with
right,
me.
who's the winner?
Amy
Nielsen
California.
from California. So I don't think Amy's on. That is it would have been super fun to have somebody on here, but
know.
anyway, Amy Nielsen from California. We will reach out to you and get you your machine. And if for some reason we can't get a hold of Amy, then maybe we'll draw a new name.
Yeah, we'll keep the bucket. But Amy,
So,
congratulations. You won a machine of your choice. And I think we should do more giveaways and fun stuff when we do
yeah,
these.
I think we're gonna try and figure out how to incorporate that in. Maybe we'll start making some fun projects while we do these videos and give them away at the end or something. I don't know, but
Thanks.
we're so glad you guys joined us on this Saturday.
Yes, thank you for spending
Morning.
your time with us. I know it's probably like maybe a cleaning or a shopping day or hopefully a loungy day if you're lucky.
Yeah, so anyway, we look forward to seeing you guys in the community. Please come and give us your questions and comments there, and we'd love to interact with you there. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.
Next Thursday. Thanks, guys.